the way we could create connectivity amongst our people, of course, virtually, that has helped us in a big way to keep up the moral high of the people. The way we started dealing with the people was to communicate to them that we all are together. We will be taking care of each one of you, each one of your family member also, as well as of any stakeholder. For this purpose, we came out with, immediately in few days' time, we came out with Dalmia support line. That was a helpline meant for 24 hours every day to extend any type of help, whether it's medical, whether it's any communication, whether it's travel arrangement, or whatever it be. And there are umpteen number of cases in which our people, their family member, our customers, our transporters, or our vendors also sought support from this Dalmia support line, and we were able to make them happy. So that has really helped us to keep the moral high of the people. Similarly, there were apprehensions in the mind of the people that when they would get salary, wages, and more particularly amongst workers and contractor workers. So the step which we took was that in the month of March, we advanced payment of salary and wages by 4 to 5 days, just to give a message that we are there to take care of you, and you need not to worry on this account. Take care of your health. And afterwards also, we are quite regular in making payments to them, and that has helped us in ensuring that whatever operations we wanted to start at any point of time, that runs smoothly. When this message was there, then another step which we took was to keep spiritually also high, to keep them also physically high, and for that various type of courses were started, various classes were started, physical yoga training was also started, and with these all initiatives, we found that now we are getting more and more closer. We could also meet so many people, which personally, if I say, I could not meet in last 3 years, which in last 90 days, I could meet. And virtually every day, we were meeting 50 people, 100 people, 200 people also. And on the first day, we addressed about 2,200 people virtually together, just to communicate that yes, we are all together. We are facing this difficult time in a very different way. And the result was that wherever required, we were able to start our operations well in time. If I may say that our 4 plants started well before time, and they were the first amongst the few others to start because of having taken required permission from central government or state government to allow the cement industry also to act as central process industry and to permit them even before lockdown was lifted. And that has helped us to again boost up the moral of the people also, and then people felt that yes, we are able to reboot ourselves. There was a challenge that how with the lesser number of people, particularly lesser number of workers, considering first 33% allowability of workers in the plant and afterwards 60% with physical distancing, how that would be done. But the way our team could manage that, that was remarkable, and all required precautions like taking temperature at the gate, then sanitizing the people, then keeping physical distancing, and virtually inspecting the people, etc. That has helped us to restart the plant well in time, and the result is that we have been able to completely to do better in plant operations, plant efficiencies, even with 60%, 70% of the labor force at the moment. Maybe some challenge would come when it will go to 100%, and at that time, how we are able to take care of labor. Another good part was that as per our previous policies, we were almost having residence or the quarters for almost everybody, whether it's a staff or workers in and around our area. On that account, we have not faced much problem except in 1 or 2 places in regard to migrant workers So there was no migration, though the labor who were working with us were belonging to few other states. But since they were living with their family members at our plant area, so we have not faced any problem in regard to restart of the business. Similarly, another important aspect was how to remain connected with the customer, because that's the philosophy of our organization, that customer is king. So for that purpose, we started a virtual program to connect with each and every customer almost on daily basis. Our sales officer and technical officers would be around 600, 650. They started contacting each and every dealer and then getting connected virtually, not only with them, but their family members also and their customers also. We also organize many type of events, programs, contests, so as to get them engaged, as well to assure them that we are with them, and further that they can feel assured that as and when business starts, we would be there to support them. As well, we could also get confidence that as and when businesses start, we would get their support. During these 90 days also, we were also very sure that each and every dealer of us, each and every customer of us is having sufficient money with them, because that was the past history. And based on this philosophy, we went on pursuing them also. We went on collecting money also. And I would say that in the month of May, part of April and the month of May, we had good collection, which also gave us confidence that we have the right customers as well as the right sales team. In regard to sales also, it was first time that we virtually launched new Konark bags virtually. Otherwise, it used to be a physical activity in which we will be calling dealers, etc. at various places, would be showcasing them, the bag and everything. But this was done first time virtually, and it was appreciated very well. Similarly, we do organize certain award ceremonies every year, but this time in our northeast area, we organized award ceremony virtually, and that was also liked by most of the people. So slowly, we have converted ourselves from physical contacting to physical distancing, and at the same time, we never followed the concept of social distancing, but we followed concept of social closeness virtually. And friends, let me share with you that has helped us in a big way. And when our sales operations started in the month of April, then we could see the positive and proactive response from our customers by having sufficient number of orders from day one, and that has helped us also to fare better comparatively. In fact, the similar activity was done with the transporter also, with the vendors also, and that was also resulting in the sufficient number of trucks, sufficient supply of material, and that not a single day we faced the problem of having no raw material, no packing bag, or no fuel. So this is how I think we have been able to keep up the morale of the people high. We could keep the people safe and healthy. And during this process, we could unearth and we could find out many new leaders in our time, and which augurs well for our future. Now, let me say that in addition to the business we carried out in the month of April, May, and now June also, the way this pandemic impact started from, say, from 15th March onwards, but on 24th March, everything got stopped, and on that account, we lost huge quantum of sales. And if I look back from EBITDA point of view, it might have resulted in a lower EBITDA of about 145 crores in the month of March, and similar was or somewhat more impact was there in the month of April. Now, if I talk of last year's performance, FY20, then I would say from volume point of view, we had growth of 3% against overall all India growth of -1%. And as we have been assuring all of our stakeholders, including you, that in most of the time you would be faring better than the industry, and the same has been the case in FY20. Similarly, various initiatives have also helped us, uh, including the brand management, etc., on better profitability for FY20, and this is what we expect now for FY21 also. You all are aware of uncertainty of FY21. So we are also now in the same uncertainty, but at the same time, with the rebooting and reshaping our team, we are quite confident that whatever the crisis would come, whatever uncertainty would come, our team would be able to create certainty out of it. Now, if I talk a few other matters, one, on account of incentives, friends, we were able to collect 409 crores in FY20. Now, in terms of our project price, I'm happy to share that we were able to commission our line 3 preparation plant, and on that account now we have sufficient quantity of clinker which would be used for any type of demand which would be coming up, which has started little bit coming up, but with whatever would be coming up will be full of clinker, which otherwise we had faced problem in past, on account of which sometimes we had to buy clinker also. Similarly, considering the expected demand in East, we have also inbuilt sufficient capacity of grinding expected demand. Our 2 grinding units, which one is at Bengal, another is Odisha, they were of course greatly impacted by this pandemic, by this migrant workers, by the working conditions, and on that account, yes, that could be delayed. But at the same time, we won't be feeling impact of this, because at the moment, considering the degrowth in cement demand in FY21, we are fully having capacity in our east. As regards south and northeast, we have sufficient capacity to meet any demand. Now in regard to So this is what I wanted to share with you, that we are fully poised for right time, and as and when situation would come, we would be able to face them together. And in regard to raw material prices, in regard to petroleum coke prices, to some extent the petroleum coke prices have softened, but not to the extent which we were expecting, considering the drop in oil prices. Similarly, on slag price, particularly for East, it is broadly stable now, and we are also taking various measures. We are taking various measures now to ensure that yes, our variable cost remains in control. And in regard to various capex which will be happening on project site, etc., for 2 grinding units, that would all be depending on now whatever the cash flows are there, whatever time is there. But yes, we are fully flexible. So in the end, friends, I would like to quote from Brahmkumari's messages, which speaks very clearly the character of our people, and I would just highlight that quote, and just bear with me that it's in Hindi. मैं हर समस्या का समाधान करने वाली सदा निर्भय और विजयी आत्मा हूं। जो महावीर है वह कभी यह बहाना नहीं बना सकते कि सर्कमस्टांस ऐसे थे, समस्या ऐसी थी, इसलिए हार हो गई। समस्या का काम है आना, और महावीर का काम है समस्या का समाधान करना, न कि हार खाना। महावीर वह है जो सदा निर्भय होकर विजयी बने, छोटी मोटी बातों में कमजोर न हो। महावीर विजयी आत्माएं हर कदम में तन से मन से खुश रहते हैं, वे कभी उदास नहीं होते, उनके पास दुख की लहर स्वप्न में भी नहीं आ सकती। तो फ्रेंड्स, वी ऑल आर महावीर ऑफ डालमिया भारत। Thank you for your patient hearing. Now, I would request to my colleague Jay to share his thoughts.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Singhi, and thank you for such a nice, quote. I just want to add one thing on what Mr. Singhi said, is that we went about these 90 days in a very disciplined manner, a very humane manner, a very reaching out to the families of
आपण ज्या व्यक्तीशी बोलत आहात त्यांनी
Hello? Am I audible?
Go ahead.
In a very humane manner and reaching out to all the families of the employees. We went about in a manner which we were very clear as people, safety, security, and cash. I think it's very important to have that strategy of cash also, because all of you would definitely want to ask and understand that why did we borrow some money in March when we were not required. But the times were such that the strategies have to change according to the time. In February, we had paid down a lot of debt. As you have seen, last 2.5 years, we had paid down 2,600 crores of debt. In March, when we were shutting down, we didn't know how the things would have opened up or how things would have evolved. And it was very important for us as a team to convey to the entire employees of Dalmia Bharat that we are together. And even if things don't work out for 6 months, 1 year, we are absolutely ready for any contingency, whether it is statutory payments, whether it is loan repayments, whether it is salaries, whether it is fixed cost. And that's what we did, that we drew down about 600 crores additional in March, and which has carried as cash as of March balance sheet. But as we speak today, as you can see clearly some amount of cash flow coming in, we've already started drawing and paying down that debt by 300 crores. So we will evolve our strategies month by month, depending upon the situations, whether another, because there are a lot of things which we are not anticipating could come in, and we want to be fully ready with those challenges and on top of that. So we will take our strategy month by month, week by week, on how the things evolve. As Mr. Singhi has said, that we were able to, because of the faith and the trust of the people, we were able to restart all our factories and sales, productions and operations in a most efficient manner and a timely manner. In fact, as Mr. Singhi has already said, that we would now so tuned to virtual that we are ready to even get onto this conference call on a virtual Zoom call, which we will from next quarter onwards try and endeavor that. I leave the now questions, the floor open for questions for all our analysts and investors, and we are ready, Mr. Singhi and myself, we are ready to answer each and every of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Indrajit Agarwal from CLSA. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. The first question is how the regional demand and pricing has been in fourth quarter, and how has it been in this quarter so far? We have heard news of some significant price increase. How is the pricing environment on that perspective? Hello?
Yeah. Yes. So in terms of demand, I would say that the quarter 4 was a good quarter till 23rd March. But at the same time, on account of the lockdown, all activity got closed from 24th March. And on that account, there has been a drop of, I would say, around 7 to 8% in demand. And on that account, if you look at all India demand also, with the figures which are broadly available to everyone, so there has been in totality 1% negative growth, which otherwise it was happening about 1 and 2% plus growth. And in the month of now, April, May, June, it looks like that one, there was some pent-up demand which came up. Second, there was some road projects got started by the government so as to take care of some employment. And third, the rural sector has started, rural market has started showing some positive signs on that account. There was demand, but still, I would say in totality, the industry might be working at about 40%, 45% capacity utilization.
And on pricing?
So on pricing, normally what happens that because of the low stocks left over at the end of March, every time April and May, prices goes a bit higher on account of various corrective actions which are taken by the dealers, etc. So this time also we saw that the moment the market started, dealers started getting good prices, and based on that, almost each company was able to increase the prices. There was a need of price increase also on account of very high cost of production due to washout from 24th March to, let us say, 20th or 25th of April. And on that account, fixed cost per ton has gone up, this interest cost per ton has gone up. But at the same time, I think it was the market who supported, and that's why some price increase has happened. But no one knows now that till what time this higher price may remain in the market. But at the same time also, let me share that these are still prices are lower than what it was in April, May 19.
On interest cost on the SEBI release that was put out. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, on the interest cost on SEBI release that you have put out, items 4E and 4F, are these all cash cost or some bit of it is accounting and could be reversed in future quarters?
Yeah, it is, if you can see my page 17, where given the actual, breakup of the fluctuation. The interest cost and the other charges are actual cash payment. Other charges include, LC, bank guarantees and, other charges. Whereas forex fluctuation, non-cash component for the year is about 58 crores. And hence could be reversed depending upon how the rupee moves. I hope I'm able to clear that. So out of 438 crores for the year, 58 crores is non-cash item. And for the quarter, 42 crores is the non-cash item.
Thank you. I would request Ms. Agarwal to rejoin the queue for follow-up questions. We would also request participants to please limit your question to 2 at a time. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Murarka from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So one, I wanted to understand about the expansions. So the clinker has commissioned and 2 grinding units, I believe, will commission by end of this calendar year and another 2 later on. So could you also help understand what will be the a ramp-up or utilization expectation on these plants? Let's say the clinker that has already started, what could be the utilization, let's say in FY21?
It will, the clinkerization plant is fully on, and now whatever say would be the requirement of cement, considering the cement demand in the market, we will be able to supply the cement. Now at the moment, it's very difficult to forecast the cement demand, and I'll be too happy if you can help us in forecasting how GDP would be growing or how cement demand would be growing or degrowing. And that's why, like Jayesh has said, that we'll be creating a strategy month on and on and on. But at the same time, to feed the market, and our plant is ready, our team is ready.
Sure, understood. And on the Murali Industries front, what is the status there? Has the payment been made, and if not, by when?
Some filing was to happen with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Register of Companies, and because of closure of offices, etc., because they have not taken up such matter on priority, and that's why that has not happened. And on that account, we are not able to make the payment. So we are expecting that by 15th of July, we should be able to make first payment and we should be able to acquire. And afterwards, it would require at least one year to restart. So this is the status of Morbi. Otherwise, things are in place.
Thank you. I would request Mr. Murarka to rejoin the queue. The next question is from the line of Prateek Kumar from Antique Stock Broking. Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, good morning, sir. Sir, CVD mentioned about company is flexible on CapEx for the remaining grinding units we are putting up in East. So, sir, this flexibility, I mean, we are talking about 3 to 6 months of delay for all the units, as is also mentioned in the notes to accounts of the press release, or it's even higher, which we could anticipate.
So, still we have not been able to get sufficient number of people because of a lot of restrictions on interstate movement and formalities which have to be done for this migrant labor. So we are expecting that maybe in 6 to 9 months time. So that's why we have set our deadline of year end. So as far as funds are concerned, that's not a constraint. As far as the availability of machine is concerned, broadly that's in place. So it will all depend on that how we are able to start up and ramp up operation. And try to also appreciate now that doing project work with the right physical distancing, etc., that's the challenge which is being faced by not the Indian companies but everybody else.
Right. And just one question on your Northeast operation. During recent floods, has the demand of sale been significantly impacted versus what is the general trend in this part of the year?
No significant disruption.
Thank you. I'll get back to the queue.
Just for a few days.
Thank you. Anyone who would like to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Gaurav Pateria from Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for taking my question. So firstly, sir, any color of utilization rate on an average for FY20 for East, Northeast and South region? Utilization rate for each of the regions for FY20 on an average?
We don't share the specific region numbers. Am I right, Desh? Yes.
Okay. Sir, you also talked about the impact on EBITDA due to the lockdown. So was it on account of all due to lost sales, or was there any other issue with respect to higher cost which was reflected in the raw material cost? Any clarification on that will be helpful.
So it was just because of loss of sales, and I would say that almost in the month of March we lost around 8 lakh ton of sales. And otherwise we would have definitely gone for higher sales. And the increase in raw material cost is on account of one, it was on slag and some quantum of clinker which was purchased earlier. And secondly, we produced more slag cement, so that on that account, one, the raw material cost has gone up, but at the same time, some saving we got in power and fuel. So in power and fuel, you will find that the cost has gone down on account of 2 reasons. One, because of more blended cement and PSP, and secondly, on account of comparatively lower prices of petcoke, which was around last quarter, it was around $66.
Okay. The last question from me. What would be the capex number one should build for FY21, and how much of the debt is up for repayment in FY21 and FY22? Thank you.
So I would say that capex is difficult to project because of this uncertain time. And in regard to other question, Jayesh?
Yes. It's as Mr. Singhi said, that it's very difficult to project how the CapEx cash flow will happen, because we will take it as, again, repeating month by month on how the cash flows come and what. We are ready for everything. We expect that 4.5 million tons of the grinding unit, which will come by March, and Murli, the payment of about 400 crores, which will happen. Any other CapEx or anything beyond it, we will take it as in month by month come. As far as our repayments are concerned, we have about 1,150 crores of debt repayment, which is on schedule, of which about 700 has already been paid for this in this quarter itself. And depending upon the cash flow, we will recoup this. We will not want to borrow any additional amount. So I think our debt EBITDA is at 1.34. I don't see it significantly moving from these numbers beyond what it is.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of S. Ghosh from Franklin Templeton. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. So please help us understand, you raised 600 crores of debt, which is good and to be on the safe side, a prudent decision. But could we have not held back our buyback decision if we are very uncertain about our cash flows and maybe not raise the debt at a negative carry?
I think there are two ways to answer this question. When we opted for the buyback, the COVID situation was not as bad as it was looking at, and which happened. So point one. Point two, we have the cash at Dalmia Bharat level, which we have enough cash to continue the buyback, and I cannot in any case use the cash available in DCBL at DBL level for any buyback, as you are aware that no borrowings can be taken for a buyback of the cash. So what we have done is utilize the cash of Dalmia Bharat to acquire the shares at which we believe is at a decent value. So I have not transformed the cash of DCBL into DBL, point one, and which cannot be done even legally, because you have to utilize the cash at DBL level, which is there to utilize it. So I thought the prudent way, rather than keep it at the investment level, was to buy back some portion of the equity at this kind of a pricing. So point one. And it's not that we have completely gone ahead and done the entire 500 crores. We have till now done about 272 crores, which we thought was a nice and it's still a good value, and that's what the company took that decision. And point two is that the employees and all the cash requirement of DCBL was at DCBL level. We have spent about 1,600 odd crores for our eastern expansion till March, and we had not borrowed anything more than 50 crores. We have a line outstanding credit available of 2,000 crores against the entire CapEx. And as a prudent norm, this amount we borrowed just to ensure the security of cash. Now things turn out better. It's good we will repay it, because there is no penalty on prepayment of this loan. That's why we didn't raise any NCD, which were a far better option at that point of time from a COVID related. But any NCD to save a percentage of interest would have been certainly better, but I would never have been able to repay the NCD. Hence, we opted for a bank loan which could be prepaid without any penalty at any point of time. And in fact, as I mentioned, as of today, we already prepaid 300 crores. So I hope I'm able to, Subodh, answer your question.
Yeah.
You may also highlight that we are not carrying the loan at negative cost.
Yeah. And what we did is that when we borrowed that 600 crores, we immediately put it into AAA bond, only AAA bond, 600 crores.
Okay.
So there is no negative carry also on that.
And yes.
Yeah, that's helpful clarification, sir. And second question, sir, the Murli acquisition, you said 12 months after you pay, you can start operations. So I just want to know when you will start seeding the market, building up a team, and will that be very difficult as this is a new market for you, and in a low demand environment situation which might persist for some time now, that ramp up in a new market becomes that much more difficult?
One, as far as the revamping of plant is concerned, we have the team ready with us. Most of the people would be from our existing plant. And secondly, since it will take 1 year, so let us say that the production may start around, say, June or July, considering the situation time to time. So definitely, for the early days of calendar year 21, those marketing activities should start. And considering our brand position, considering the team efforts which we have, I think we'll not face any problem.
Okay. Sir, and one related question to Murli. I think there was this August 2019 NCLT order which required you to consider the other businesses, the paper and solvent extraction employees and some compensation to them. So one, is there any update to that? And second is the current limestone probably has limited reserves and we were looking for an additional limestone to augment our capability. Is there any update to that?
At the moment, update is COVID-19. Because of that, in these 3 months on this part, no further action or no further development. At the same time, whatever permissions were required from government in regard to mines or incentives, that's in place. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone who would like to ask a question, you may press star 1. Please note, this is a final reminder for questions and no further reminders will be placed after this. The next question is from the line of Rajesh Lahani from HSBC. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity and congratulations on a good set of numbers. So my first question is with regards to the capacity utilizations currently and during the quarter 1Q FY21 quarter. So you said the industry might be operating at 40 to 45% utilizations, but I wanted to know what would be your utilizations currently in East and South?
I would say that we are operating maybe 15-20% lower than what we were operating in totality last year. But at the same time, in East, we have been able to do better because of two reasons. One, we have a sufficient capacity there as well. There has been comparatively better demand, and you must be aware that East region of the country is having lesser red dots or lesser red zones or the containment zones. And secondly, now it looks like that because all migrant laborers came back from any part of the country to Eastern India. So on that account now, home building by IHBs in rural areas, etc., that has also started. So things are better in East in comparison to South.
Understood. And so my second question would be on the Rajgangpur clinker plant. So earlier you were purchasing clinker from the market. So wanted to know how much was that quantity and what impact can we see on EBITDA or EBITDA per ton due to the Rajgangpur clinker?
So my dear friend, you can ask this information offline so that we'll be able to get the right numbers, etc. But then yes, we have already stopped purchasing clinker and we are quite comfortable with our clinker availability. Thank you.
Understood. Thanks. That's it from my side.
Great.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of
Hello?
Give me a moment, sir. Sorry about that. The next question is from the line of Ritesh Shah from Investec Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, my first question is on discounts. You did indicate about pricing. So just wanted to have a sense on discounts. So what we report is on net basis. Other companies, UltraTech, Ambuja, ACC, they do report discounts in the annual report. So sir, just wanted to have a sense of what is the discount quantum for us on annual basis. And is there scope for this variable to actually go down in this difficult times? So that's the first question.
So I'm not exactly aware about reporting of discount etc. separately, But then we'll have a relook and maybe we'll inform you that what's the status.
Sir, Jayesh sir, is it possible if you could give some color on what would the percentage of discounts be basically?
No, I think as Mr. Singh
In my view, it may not be appropriate to discuss all these very specific things in our investor call. Thank you.
Thank you. I would request Mr. Shah to rejoin the queue. The next question is from the line of Sumangal Nevatia from Kotak Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. First one, bookkeeping question. Could you share what would be the incentives accrued and outstanding receivables as on FY20?
Sure. We have accrued about 125 crores last year. The total incentives received was 409 crores, as Mr. Singh said, and outstanding as of 1st April of 20 is 700 odd crores.
Okay. And Jayesh, should we expect this run rate to continue, or with the new clinker, the incentive run rate will increase?
No, I think right now we will assume 125, 140 crores of accrual. As I said, that depending upon once the grinding unit comes and what we negotiate with the states on how much we sell, and that is still under negotiation. So we will come back to you on how much of incentive which we'll accrue. So right now, for all our calculations, we should consider accruing between 125 to 145 crores, depending upon how much we sell in each state.
Understand.
Clinker doesn't get us additional, when you sell cement in that particular state, we will be able to get it.
All right. Next question, sir. With respect to IEX investment, a couple of quarters back, we did share that by end of the financial year, we will share our strategy and how we are looking at that. So any update on that?
I know we would certainly come back to you on IEX, and it is on the top of the mind. As I already said, that we've already started utilizing the cash for buying back Dalmia Bharat, and you will see some amount of strategy when we come out. Yes, we were to tell you by 31st March and come back, but because of these situations, probably we could be excused in not coming back, but rest assured that it is on the top of our list, and we will address it as soon as possible in this financial year. Hello?
Yeah. Just one last clarification. Thanks for that answer. With respect to the raw materials, slag, fly ash, petcoke, any pricing trends in the last 2 months, 3 months, which you could share and which could impact our cost run rate going forward?
In my view, the price of petcoke would remain in between $60 to $70, which otherwise in last year might have gone up to $80. And secondly, on raw material prices like slag, fly ash, basically they would remain stable.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jigar Shroff from Maybank. Please go ahead.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So my question pertains to the carbon management. I think Dalmia Bharat is doing a great work on that. One question would be if you can update us during FY20 a little bit, I think, on the broad achievements on the carbon side. And secondly, the question is about there is some discussion elsewhere in the Western world of putting a carbon tax on many industries or some kind of tax even on cement sector in particular. So, how do you look at that, and are there any internal views on that regarding carbon tax in India or on cement industry in India?
Oh, great question, and thanks for showing interest in sustainability and CO2 reductions. So the last question first. In fact, in regard to carbon tax, it is just at discussion stage for overall globe, but at the same time, in European countries as well as in part of US, this carbon tax is there in one way or other form, and there are few groups which have been created to understand that how this carbon tax can play a role in bringing down CO2 emissions. And I may share with you that Dalmia Cement is one of the commissioners appointed by World Bank out of 17 people to work on carbon pricing mechanism. So as far as say developing countries are concerned, it's still remote, but at the same time, in 3 years, 5 years time, it may come up in one way or other. Only other information which I can share with you is that already different form of carbon tax is there by carbon coal sense, and in some other sense it is also called as a carbon tax, and that's going on in India since maybe 4 years or 5 years. Another one would be that we are working in a big way on reducing CO2 emissions, and one of the major steps which we have taken is we have identified that we will be putting up CO2 capture and utilization plant, and we had already signed contract agreement with the Carbon Clean Solutions of the UK, and we are working on it. But of course, it's a 3 to 5 years project in which now Asian Development Bank is doing the project feasibility study, and then it will be taken up, and this will be one of the first in the world, and that's because of the leadership which Dalmia Cement is showing on this CO2 reduction. And we are also working at the same time on going more and more for blended cement. Second, we are now increasing also the alternate fuel which we call green fuel. Last year it was 6%, earlier it was 4%, FY19. And now maybe this year it can be 9 or 10%, looking to now the situation. And otherwise also there are a lot of efforts which are in our organization to ensure that one, awareness is there, and secondly, we put up such projects by which we can bring down our CO2 emissions.
Thank you, sir. That was very useful, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Bhaiya.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Hitesh Sheth from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my question. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, you're audible, Hitesh.
Yeah. So firstly, on your current debt, gross debt and net debt position as of 31st March 2020, if you can see.
Yeah, the current net debt position is 31st March. Gross debt is about 5,900 crores, and net debt is about 2,800 crores. The debt EBITDA is 1.4.
Okay. And on the incentive front, so till what time you are going to receive these existing incentives which are currently you are accruing at the 125 to 140 crore run rate?
Till next 1 or 2 years, and in fact it will go up depending upon our commissioning of the grinding units at the various locations and what we negotiate with the state government.
Okay. And you will receive incentives from Murli plant and Kalyanpur as well, right?
Yes.
So Kalyanpur
government started coming in as much as we sell in Bihar.
So Kalyanpur, how much you are expected to receive?
Depending upon what we sell in that state, the total incentive which is available is about 200 crores.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kamlesh Jain from Prabhudas Lilladher. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. One question on the pricing side. So against the Q4 average realization, how are the realizations currently, sir, in this, we are in the mid of this June. So how are the realizations in this quarter or the current levels versus the average of last quarter? Q1Q.
Still there is uncertainty about price, etc. Though you are right that yes, we are almost in the month of June. So maybe when we meet again for June quarter, we'll be able to share with you.
Okay. And sir, within East, which states are doing well? Like say, is the Bihar doing far better than other states?
how's the spread among the regions, among the states in the eastern region, sir?
Broadly, I would say Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha. First would be Bihar.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aviral Jain from SG India. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I had just one question. This was regarding EBITDA on per unit sales for the past quarter 4. There has been a significant fall over the same period last year. So has there been a big variation in your regional profitability on a per unit sales basis between Northeast, East, and South India for Q4 FY20 versus Q4 FY19?
Not much, except that yes, it has happened mainly on account of pricing changes in both the regions, particularly East and South. Otherwise, as far as the quantity etc. is concerned, it's almost the same proportion as before.
And also some amount of fixed cost absorption, because we were not able to sell about 8 lakh tons of cement. So which could, absorption of fixed cost has also got into a reduction of EBITDA per ton.
Very right, very right.
So it's not any particular
no,
region which kind of pulled down the numbers.
No.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Thank you. Due to time constraints, we'll take last 2 questions. The next question is from the line of Rajesh Ravi from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Good morning. Congrats. Good set of numbers despite challenging times. Sir, 2 small questions. On the IEX, what is the value which is lying on the balance sheet on FY20 number?
As of mark to market, whatever the price is into the number of shares which we have. Because we do mark to market and the difference is considered as an other comprehensive income which doesn't come in the P&L.
Right.
So we have to, as per law, do a mark to market on all our.
Yeah, that's okay, sir. What is the number which is due? Do you have that offhand?
About 760 crores or something.
760 crores. And so second on the status on the, what is the refractory sale? What is the status?
I can't hear you.
The refractory business which you were planning to,
we've got the order of the NCLT. 22nd July is the date for secured and unsecured creditors voting.
Okay.
After this result, so we are actually on top of that, doing that only to send the financial results as of 31st March to all the secured and unsecured creditors of DCBL as well as DRL. We hope to get the approval of the secured and unsecured creditors in this July meeting, and probably post that, probably 6 to 8 months. The approval from the stock exchange, Calcutta Stock Exchange is yet to give us. The Metropolitan Stock Exchange already given us approval.
Thank you. We'll take one last question from the line of S. Ghosh from Franklin Templeton. Please go ahead. Mr. S. Ghosh from Franklin Templeton, the line is in the top now. Please go ahead with your
question. Sorry. Thanks for taking my follow-up. So for the mutual fund case, the June 2019 FNO contracts, have they been settled and paid for the counterparties by someone, maybe ISSL or someone? Can you just clarify on that?
I wouldn't know whether, yes, it is. I know that it has been paid for. But I don't think so. The SEBI or the authorities are able to trace the money anywhere else. So as far as the units are concerned, we are at status quo. We have, spoken to SEBI and written to SEBI rather, and we are doing the thing that now everything is done. We should get the units back. And even till today, the culprits are still under lockup.
Okay. So a revised timeline for the resolution? Your expectation?
Very difficult, Sugato, to really get into revised timelines on a pinpoint. We expected before these kind of, because it is a priority for me, but it may not be a priority for many other authorities. So though we expected that within 9 months to 12 months we should get our units back, I am hopeful and please don't hold me on to that. But we are sparing no effort lesser than what you're spending on any other place to get these units back. And that continues to remain our top priority, because everything has been settled, the forgery, everything has been done, that the culprits have been accosted. The only thing which is pending is that the frozen units now be transferred to us.
Got it. Thank you. Helpful.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraints, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Vaibhav Agarwal for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you. On behalf of PhillipCapital, we would like to thank you all for the call. Also, many thanks to the sponsor for doing the call. Thank you very much, sir. Margaret, you may now conclude the call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very well done.
Most welcome, sir. Most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of PhillipCapital India Private Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.